Hello, I'm Sunny Muffin, and this is my Octopath Traveler Randomizer Marathon submission. Octopath Traveler is a standard style JRPG that kind of harkens back to the old school style like pixel art and the various like job systems that have been popped up in Squeenix games. The Randomizer is a relatively new development, and it's been worked on mostly over the past year, and it is getting pretty crazy, the things that you can do with it. So for anybody that's familiar with Octopath Traveler, you can pick one of 8 starting characters. In this specific instance, we go with Alphen. The reason to go with Alphen is the randomizer gives us the option of putting evasive maneuvers on a given character. So one of the things that I'm going to submit with this run is an incentive for people to pick the starting character for the randomizer. You can force evasive maneuvers onto any character that you want, and starting them, it really doesn't matter which one you start with, because you can start with any of them. The usual format for randomizer is the single story category. So the goal of this run is going to be to beat Alphen's story as quickly as possible. Now, anybody that's familiar with the game, you're going to notice some immediate things that are going to be a little bit wonky. So first off, Alphen here, he is our apothecary. He has access to the axe ability. But when I go into apothecary skills, you're going to see a bunch of stuff that doesn't belong to the apothecary class. So the very first thing that is randomized is all of the jobs, and the skills within the jobs are going to be randomized. So it's going to say apothecary, but apothecary is going to be different from what you would normally expect. All of the advanced jobs and regular jobs are all shuffled into the same pool. And the randomizer does have a little bit of balance allowed to it, so it will favor in the first 2 slots abilities that have lower SP costs. This allows the early game to be done pretty seamlessly because you're able to actually cast the abilities that you have. Some of the later abilities cost so much SP that you wouldn't be able to cast them, and it would just kind of make for a really boring beginning of the game. Now, the next thing you're going to notice that is randomized is the chests. So all of the items in this game can be randomized, and there's a bunch of different settings that go along with it. The settings that I am currently playing on are all of the chests, all of the NPC items, and all of the hidden items are all dumped into a big pool and shuffled around. So basically any item in the game, other than quest items, I can be finding from these chests. Now, this is really, really important to note because it's going to make the Thief class and the Merchant class really, really good because they can start checking those NPC items. The Apothecary class and the Scholar class can also start checking those hidden items. Personally, I don't choose to do that because the levels on those are kind of a little bit weird. The level requirements to scrutinize and to inquire, but for the most part, I am checking all of the chests that I come across within this initial area, and I'll be checking NPCs as soon as I get access to purchase and steal. So we're making our way through Alphen's first dungeon right here. Alphen has one of the more check-dense areas of the game. He does have access to 8 chests in this area. When you're originally playing this game casually without the randomizer, Alphen's dungeon has access to all of his concoct materials. The apothecary class gets to combine different items for various effects, and the game wants to introduce you to that early. But for randomizer purposes, we get access to a lot of different items, and really the name of the game with randomizers is always how can you check the most things very quickly. Now, the third thing that is randomized, you're noticing right here, all of the bosses are randomized. So Alphen normally has to fight Blotted Viper here, but here we have Heathcote. So this is Therian's Chapter 1 boss popping up in Alphen Chapter 1. It just adds a little bit of a mix to the things. We don't know what bosses are coming up, so I need to be prepared to fight basically any Chapter 1 boss there. They are only randomized within their chapters, so like I can't see a Chapter 4 boss in Chapter 1, because that'd just be a little bit ridiculous. There are some settings that you can play with that do allow some more ridiculous things to happen, like you can see Galdera Phase 1 right there, which is the final boss of the game, and that's just really spooky. The normal setting that's a little bit more balanced that we play on is just randomizing within those rings. So Chapter 1 bosses are all mixed in with the Chapter 1 bosses, Chapter 2 bosses are mixed in with Chapter 2. It just makes it a little bit more balanced and makes the flow of the game a little bit better. Now, one of the things that makes Octopath Traveler a really, really cool speed game, in my opinion, is that once you're done with your first chapter 1, you can go anywhere. So the world is now Alphen's oyster, and he's able to move freely throughout the map. Right now, the best thing to do for me is to be checking shrines. So in this game, you get access to all of the various jobs, and then with all of the jobs that have their associated character. So Alphen right here, he's our apothecary, but then I also gain access to the apothecary shrine, which allows me to equip apothecary onto various different party members. These are really, really important because when I visit a shrine, I'm going to get a spoiler of what the passive skills are. So passive skills in this game offer various buffs. You can get like more E attack, you can get more defense, you can get more, just lots of different things. And it's going to help me put together this puzzle of how I want to finish off this randomizer. And in addition, when I'm moving throughout the areas, you're going to see me checking all of these chests. What I'm really looking for right now is high elemental attack items. In general, elemental attack is better than physical attack. It's easier to do an elemental attack setup and to get good damage out of it rather than trying to piece together the physical setup. Now, it's not impossible to have a good physical damage setup, but it is a little bit less likely than getting a good magic damage setup. There's lots of really, really good magic attack weapons, and then the physical attack weapons, they don't hit as hard. It's kind of unfortunate, but you can make physical damage work. Like for instance, if I was going through the seed and I found a really, really good axe, like a death cleaver or a battle tested axe, and then I found skills that supported that, like amputate or last stand, I could potentially put together a physical damage setup. But magic damage setups are much easier to put together because of runes. So in this game, the Rune Lord is one of the advanced jobs, and all of those rune skills are mixed into the pool. Runes are really, really good. They have a very high base magic damage, and there are 6 of them. So odds of getting a rune skill are really, really high, and they just do really, really good damage. They're not without fault. You do have to take a turn to set them up. So you're vulnerable there for a turn before you can start actually dealing any respectable damage. We do also have access to like the sorcerer class, which gives triple elemental attacks. Those are also really good, but you do need specific setups to kind of take advantage of them. They're a little bit clunkier. They have really, really high SP costs, so you can't cast them as often, but they do hit 3 times, so they do have that advantage going for them as well. So right now I'm making my way through what we call Ring 1. So Ring 1 has all of the characters' starting towns. So right there, I was in Cobblestone. This is Ulbrich's starting town. I don't know if I want Ulbrich yet. Right now, I have very, very little information available to me, so I want to keep my options open. So I'll be tagging all of these starting towns as I'm moving through, and if I see something from one of the shrines that like leads me into picking up a character, I'll do that. One thing that makes the randomizer really, really fast is that you do get access to that evasive maneuvers early. A large part of the non-randomized speedrun is how can you quickly get evasive maneuvers as fast as possible. That is because that ability causes you to lower your encounter rate by 2.5. So you get a lot fewer encounters, and you're able to move through these zones usually encounterless. But since I'm going to be picking up a lot of these chests, I'll get the encounters. I usually only pick up all of the chests in Ring 1 because these encounters they're not that scary. Alphen, as a solo traveler right now, he can handle all of them pretty easily. I'm not going to be really killing very much because the XP and the JP from these Ring 1 encounters is very low, but they're not dangerous. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to have to reset because of encountering something in Ring 1. Once I begin moving out to the Ring 2, Ring 3, Ring 4, then things get a little bit scarier, and I'm going to be picking up far fewer chests. So right now, the information that I have, I've picked up some pretty valuable items, as well as some just raw money from these chests. So my next thing on my shopping list is I'm going to go pick up Tressa. So Tressa is the merchant in this game, and she is probably the best character to get in randomizers. So Merchant, as a class, I don't know what is going to be on the skills, I don't know what's going to be on the passives, but I'm very, very confident in blind picking Tressa just because of her purchase ability and her eye for money ability. So I mentioned earlier that all of the NPC items are kind of shuffled into a pool. So anything can be on a purchase, and there's a ton of items in this game. So really right now I need to Kate. This is a pretty pointless Kate because I don't have any real other party members, so I don't think, yeah, I'm not even gonna bother. Anyway, sorry, what I was ranting on about there earlier is purchase. So the name of the game with randos is checking as many things as quickly as possible, and by being able to go through towns, check all of the NPCs' inventories and see what they have, it's really just, it's the fastest way to get to check dense areas and to get the most information that I possibly can get and start building together my team that can tackle these bosses. Alright, so this is Tressa. She is good. She's really, really good. And in addition to purchase, she gets eye for money. So anytime I'm going to enter a zone after picking up Tressa, she's going to pick up a random amount of money. This amount of money corresponds to the level of the zone that I'm in. Higher level zones, you get more money. So Tressa being the second character that I'm picking up, I'm still going to be looting all of these zones. Again, we're on ring 1. This is the game's like base area, and it's not very dangerous at all. So I'm just going to be running around trying to find items. At this point, I really haven't picked up anything like, oh my gosh, that's so good, I need to use it. So I'm still going to be on the hunt. I'm looking for a high E attack weapon. I'm looking for really good armor, really good, basically anything with E attack on it. You can get Sork robes, you can get elemental robes, just a lot of various things that will help me boost up my party. You can also get something like the really endgame armor, which at this point makes your character basically invincible. But things like that are going to be all very, very handy throughout the game. So right now, all of these encounters, they're not dangerous, but I really don't want to kill them. I don't really have any damage on my characters. Like, killing this would just be really inefficient. So you're going to see me fleeing from basically every encounter that I'm not like intentionally taking. And that is just to save time. It's the fastest thing you could possibly do is to run away from an encounter instead of actually fighting it. In Octopath Traveler, you get the access to flee right away, and it is kind of based on your level, on your chance to flee. So right now I am pretty comparable level to the encounters in the area, so I have a pretty high chance to flee. But as with all things that are random, it's random. You can fail you can fail 3 times, and your 4th flee is always guaranteed, regardless of what area you're in. So if I was able to live a level 50 area and I got an encounter, I would still guaranteed flee on the 4th try. But right now, just kind of moving throughout Tressa's Chapter 1 area and picking up some items. Nothing really standing out to me, so just kind of moving my way through. These enemies are kind of cool because they start asleep. In the story here, Tressa is ambushing this pirate area, and she took their wine and she put some sleep weed in it, and it made all these pirates fall asleep. So she's able to move pretty unencumbered through here, and any encounters with pirates, they start asleep and you get a guaranteed flee on sleeping. Alright, so we're pulling up to Tressa's Chapter 1 boss here. Again, all of the bosses are randomized, so I can see any Chapter 1 boss here. I need to be ready to take down basically... Alright, we got Gasarma. This is probably the worst Chapter 1 boss to get. Gasarma is chonky. He has a lot of HP. Yeah, just for some reference here, Gasarma has around 4,000 HP right now, whereas if I would have got like Mick and Mac, they have 2,000 each, which is way easier to deal with. Yeah, so Cyrus Alphen just gets destroyed here. But I have some soul stones, and I also have access to the rune abilities that I was referring to earlier. So Alphen has Thunder in here. He's going to, so the rune abilities, they empower your weapon with that element. So when Alphen attacks, he's going to get a follow-up attack of that element. All of the runes come in different flavors, so we have all of the elemental coverages spread out throughout the classes. So right now, it really doesn't matter what element of rune I'm using. The Gasarma's weakness is Thunder, so that's a little bit handy, and I do want to hit that weakness when possible. Yeah, that's Gasarma. Gasarma's dead. Alright, so next on my checklist, I really want to start picking up shrines. Shrines are really good. They're going to enable me to see what is on the other jobs and make a more informed decision about what other characters I want to pick up. Like I said, I'm okay with just kind of picking up Tressa blind because purchase is good enough that I don't really care about what abilities are on Tressa. But at this point, I need to be more picky and be more informed when I'm making the decisions about how I want to build out the rest of this party. So right now I'm going to be heading down to the Warrior Shrine and the Merchant Shrine. So in Randomizer, like I said earlier, the goal is to finish Alphen's story as quickly as possible. Now, there are 4 chapters to all of these stories and 3 locations outside of the starting area that I need to visit. So in Alphen's case, I need to be going to Gold Shore, which is the home of his chapter 2. I need to go to Saintsbridge for his chapter 3, and I need to go to Orwell for his chapter 4. So my thinking right now is I am going to go to the locations that he needs to go to anyway to unlock the fast travel for them and pick up all the stuff along the way. So on the way to Goldshore, there is the Warrior Shrine and the Merchant Shrine. So I'm going to be picking those up right now and seeing what is available here. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to get a spoiler of the passive skills that are on Warrior, and I'm going to make notes of anything that is good. Alright, so here we got Physical Prowess, DP Eater Snatch. Yeah, Physical Prowess is really good, so I'm going to make note of that. What Physical Prowess does is it gives you a physical damage buff as well as a physical defense buff. I'm not super concerned with the physical damage buff, but physical defense is really, really good. Most of the bosses in this game attack physically, they don't attack elementally. So getting more armor, getting more physical defense is really, really important to surviving various bosses I might encounter. Yeah, and then usually when I'm playing through a randomizer seed, if I'm only doing single story, I only look at the first 2 abilities. So in this game, to unlock those passive abilities, I need to learn skills that are of the associated job. So for example, Warrior there, in order to unlock Physical Prowess, I need to unlock the first 2 Warrior skills. When you're doing this, you're spending JP, and the later skills just cost so much JP that they're really not worth getting unless they're really good. And at this point, I can't even really think of a skill that is worth getting on the 3rd tier and the 4th tier, just because you'd have to grind so much and do a bunch of optional encounters that would slow you down just too much. So again, I really only look at those first 2. Alright, so here we're doing a save and quit. This is to let me access the Merchant Shrine without getting an encounter. In this game, you can reset your encounter rate a number of ways. The first way is by zoning. So whenever you zone, you reset your encounter rate and then you start anew. The next way is to do a save and quit. So I access the save book right here and then reload my save. My encounter rate is now fresh and I'm able to make my way to the Merchant Shrine. The third way is using Ulbricht's challenge ability or Honnet's provoke ability, and usually in Randomizer, those 2 characters, they're just not very good. Their job abilities aren't super they're just not very useful. Now, if I do hit like a really good ability on the warrior job or on the hunter job, I might consider picking up Old Brick or picking up on it, but it just depends. All right, merchant. We have nothing. We have endless items is okay. I'm generally not the player that I like to rely on random procs. Endless items basically gives you a 3% chance to duplicate any item that you use, which, yeah, that's really good. But if I'm relying on it to beat a fight, I'm not happy. And again, you do have to go down the merchant path to unlock that ability, and that costs some JP. So I'm really not super concerned with anything that is on the merchant job right now. But again, Tressa being a merchant, she can purchase, and purchase is good enough that I am okay with blind grabbing Tressa. Alright, so this is Alphen's chapter 2, and one thing that, so some of the chapters in this game, to save time, I want to start them and then teleport out and then return to them later. So Goldshore here is a big 2-screen town, and Alphen's chapter 2 is going to take him north and then south, then north, then south, then north, then south. And it just takes a lot of time. So I'm going to do the first part of Alphen 2 right now while checking purchases and checking the various chests that are in Goldshore. And then I'm going to teleport out and go do something else and then come back when I'm ready to finish his. Because right now I just don't have enough stuff to finish his chapter 2. I don't really have any good damaging abilities. I don't have really any good defensive abilities. Yeah, it's too early to be here. But I'm just doing checks along the way, and this is all some stuff that I'm going to have to do eventually anyway, so I might as well be efficient with my time and do checks while I'm doing stuff that I need to do. Alright, so nothing really of note has popped up for me yet. A little bit disappointing. Normally I would like to have seen at least one high E attack weapon here. In general, when I am planning out what I'm going to do in a rando, I'm usually looking for at least 2 sources of damage. So like in Octopath you get 4 characters, and I want at least 2 of those characters to be able to do some pretty reasonable damage. And then the other 2 characters can just be support and help out to buff up my other 2 characters. If this was a longer seed, like if I was doing Caldera or doing multiple stories, I would want 3 damage dealers, just to speed up those fights as quickly as possible. But with this, sometimes it's more efficient to just do a fight and have it take longer than it is to explore more and get more damage. So this is the Inquire that I was mentioning before. Alphen's story takes you all the way up here, and then you have to run all the way back down and run into the Vanessa area, but that's slow, so I'm gonna just kind of finish looting the town up here and then teleport out and go do my other errands that I need to do. I always forget where the chests are in this area. So the cathedral areas, there's 3 of them in the game. They're all exactly the same in layout, but they have chests in different locations. So sometimes it's hard for me to keep my brain straight. So yeah, right now I'm going to be going to Saints Bridge. So like I was talking about earlier, Alphen needs to go to Goldshore, Saints Bridge, and Orwell. So I'm going to just make my way through the various zones to get there, and then I unlock the fast travel for a little bit later. But I'm able to do checks along the way and start piecing together the damage setup that I need. Still really nothing of note. The seed has been pretty dry so far. but I'm about to make my way to the Apothecary Shrine and get some more information from that. I already know what skills are an Apothecary because Alphen starts with all of them, but I don't know what the passives are. If the second passive is good, I might want to get it. I know the first passive is Evasive Maneuvers, so this just gives me a little bit more options. In addition, it's not really that far out of the way. I need to go to Sainsbridge anyway, and usually you would want to reset your encounter rate in the Apothecary Shrine anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick it up. It also will give me access to nothing good. Okay, cool. But yeah, it's going to give me access to the axe ability, so I can use axes on other characters as well. Depending on what bosses that I get, I might want axes to be able to break them. Enemies in this game all have a set of weaknesses, and you want to be able to hit those weaknesses so you can break them. When you break them, you do more damage. All right, so we're moving on up. Next, I'm going to be heading to Orwell and picking up a couple of different chests along the way. Ooh, a magic nut. Okay. So nuts in this game are permanent stat booster. Ooh, another cape. Okay, I'm going to kill this one. I could have killed the first one, but I didn't really... It wouldn't have been super good for me because I only had Alphen at that point. I do want to get some more JP and XP on Tressa, so having two characters here is a little bit more efficient than just having the one with the Kate experience. Kates in this game are a random 3% chance encounter in most areas. There are some areas that you just can't get Kates, and they give a lot of leaves, the currency in this game, as well as JP and XP in order to kind of beef up my characters. Oh, triple egg encounter, gross. Again, so we're still in that ring 1 area. This is what the area where all of the various characters are, and none of these encounters are super deadly, especially now that I got a Kate. You saw that it bumped my XP up to like level 13, level 14, which at this point in the game is pretty good. But once I start entering into chapter 2 zones, it's not that good and it's pretty low. So just kind of making my way through here. This is technically a ring 2 area, but I know I can get that chest and make it to the town without getting an encounter, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. This is Quarry Crest. Tressa's chapter 2 is here, but I don't need to do Tressa's story, so we're not going to be staying there long. I do come here for 2 reasons. The first is to reset my encounter rate. I'm going to be making my way down to the Thief Shrine next, see what's on Thief, and then I might want to teleport back here as well. The Cleric Shrine and the Hunter Shrine are both in the northern direction, so if I want to teleport back, this Quarry Crest area is a little bit faster than teleporting to Alphen's starting area. Yeah, so we're picking up the Thief Shrine here. Let's see what passives we have on Thief. Nothing good. Okay, cool. Percipience is kind of okay. It is an ability that makes it so you cannot get surprised in encounters, which I don't plan on taking too many random encounters, so it's kind of useless to do that investment, but it's an option. I really haven't seen very many good passive abilities. I had Physical Prowess on Warrior, which is, like I said, it's a really good defensive skill. If I find a good attack weapon, like a Death Cleaver or a battle-tested weapon, I might be looking into using physical damage for one of my damage sources. But that's yet to be seen. I still haven't really found anything very good, so we're gonna be keeping looking. But anyway, we are heading to Orwell right now. This is where Alphen's chapter 4 takes place, and I need to come here at some point anyway, so might as well do it right now while I'm still exploring, still doing checks, still kind of looking around. All right, let's see what skills we got. Thief is fairly useless. Abers is interesting. Penitras on Merchant is good. Yeah. My skills are kind of not good right now. I need to do more checks. So we're gonna head to Dancer's Shrine. Yeah, so on Thief, I did see Aber's Reckoning, which is the Thief Divine ability. It's an ability that scales with your speed. So if I find like a Viper Dagger or like a Hasty Helm and some Light Nuts, I might start going down that path and looking into using Aber's as a damage ability. But without support, it's not very good at all. I need the proper weapons to make that setup work. So then Tonitrus is the sorcerer ability. It is a 3-attack lightning ability, and hitting multiple times with a single ability is very, very good, because it will damage the boss's shields that many times based on how many times it hits. So having the ability to do that with lightning is pretty good. Like if I come up with a boss that I know is weak to lightning, I might want to use Tonitrus. This is the Dancer Shrine. Let's see what Dancer has in store for us. Nothing. Okay. Encore is a very interesting ability. So Encore is basically a second life. If your character dies, you get revived once per combat with Encore. I don't really like it as a defensive ability. It's just not consistent enough. Like, if one revive is the make or break between me killing a fight, I probably am doing something wrong. So I'm going to make note of it just in case I don't find like anything at all, but I would have to be really, really dry to rely on Encore as my defensive ability. So speaking of things that I am looking for, so I mentioned that I want a really high E attack weapon. There's a ton of them in this game, but the pool is really diluted. There's a lot of junk items in this game. Things like just like your grapes and your plums that increase your HP and your SP. There's a lot of just like random sellable items. There's a lot of quest items. And these are all just kind of thrown into the pool, and it gets really diluted. So I want to be focusing on areas that have a lot of available items, so I can just get that numbers game down, be really efficient with my time, do a lot of checks. The next thing I'm looking for, on top of the attack, on top of like damaging weapons, is I want defenses. So I'm planning on finishing this run at a very low level, and my HP is probably going to not be very good, and I'm not going to I don't want to get a lot of armor, I don't want to get a lot of stuff to help with my elemental defense. So I'm going to be looking for various defensive layers. So things like Hang Tough. Hang Tough is a support skill that basically makes it so you get hit to 1 HP instead of dying if you're at a certain HP threshold. But Hang Tough would be very good. Things like Saving Grace. Saving Grace is an ability that allows you to get overhealed, and Alphen being the apothecary, you can overheal a ton very easily. So that would be something really good to see. I'm also looking for things like Transfer Rune and Sidestep. That's a combination that will allow me to basically dodge any physical attack. So defensive abilities like that are very, very good. Like I said, Encore, it's okay. It might be usable. Let's see what Scholar has in store for me. Hard Worker. Okay. Alright, so Hard Worker is interesting. I know how I mentioned that I usually don't look past the first 2 abilities. Hard Worker doubles your JP gain. So I could potentially get down to that 3rd ability without too much investment into grinding. It's just something to think about. I don't think I'm going to go that direction. If I would have seen Hard Worker like on Apothecary or on Merchant, I might potentially go that way, but it seems a little bit too late. Like if I would have had Hard Worker for that Kate, then we can start talking about getting further down these trees. Just looking at abilities here. Oh, okay, we got the combo. We got some defense going on now. So Scholar and Dancer are both really good. We have Transfer Rune and Sidestep. So I was talking earlier about the rune skills. So we had the various different elemental runes that empower your weapon. That also on our Rune Lord, we have Transfer Rune. So Transfer Rune is an ability that buffs your character, and it makes it so any buff that you do that just targets that character now targets the entire party. So I can use Transfer Rune, and then I can use like Ice Rune, and that'll give Ice Rune to my entire party. Or I could do it on Sidestep. Sidestep is an ability that it buffs your character to let them dodge one ability. But if I BP it up to 4, it's going to allow me to dodge 4 abilities. And then with Transfer Rune, that gets spread throughout my entire party. So it is a very, very good defensive ability, especially on bosses that hit one target really hard. There are some bosses that do multi-hit, like if I get Esmeralda as my Chapter 4 boss, Transfer Rune Sidestep is not as good because she hits a lot. She has an ability called 5-sided strike that is going to hit 5 times, and it can run through all of that Sidestep really, really fast. But I'm going to pick up Cyrus here. Scholar is good enough that I want it, because then I can do Transfer and Sidestep on Cyrus here, and that would be really, really handy. I am still looking for weapons, and I need a way to deal damage. I'm good on defense. I think that Transfer and Sidestep is good enough for defense. If I get like Simeon 1 for my Chapter 4 boss, then I'm a little bit in trouble. There's a lot of elemental damage flying around, and basically any boss with adds is not good right now. I don't have... Transfer and Sidestep is really good against one target. It is not good against when I have to deal with multiple things. Any boss that has like, yeah, any adds at all is just not good, because those could just chunk down my Sidestep and kill me. So I'm thinking that I do need to get a little bit of gear as well. Most Chapter 4 bosses in this game do sweep. They have some sort of ability that targets my entire party, and a lot of them hit very, very hard. Things like if I get Darius right now would one-shot my entire party and not think twice about it. So I need to get some more HP, so after I pick up Cyrus here, I'm probably going to go get some bracelets, just to boost my character's HP. Levels in this game really aren't that impactful on your stats, so I have to rely mostly on items, which really makes this randomizer pretty cool, because all of the items are randomized, so I have to be able to take what I can get. Oh, we have Vanilla Russell. So this is actually Cyrus's Chapter 1 boss. That's cool. It's in the location that it should be. Chuck a stone here just to kill these adds off really quickly, and then I'll go ahead and kill them with runes. I don't want to wait. I'm trying to kind of conserve my soul stones here. I do like to use the soul stones on some Chapter 2 encounters to get some more JP, to get some more XP. Just kind of build up that buffer a little bit, but yeah, we'll just kill him with the M-stone here. Cool. That's Russell. So we're done with Cyrus. We got him picked up. Just gotta finish out these story bits here. Oh, okay, that's big. So that's a knowledge staff. That is one of the best staves in the game. It has really, really high E attack, and it gives your character a speed buff, which in this particular, in Randomizer, it's not like the speed buff isn't super relevant, but the high E attack really, really is. So I didn't have enough money. I'm gonna finish off Cyrus 1 here and then come back and buy it. I do have some stuff I can sell, so I can get enough money to buy that knowledge. Yeah, we'll come back in. So a lot of the NPCs in this game do move, and the Chapter 1s are kind of restrictive, where they don't have the full array of NPCs. So I want to zone out of Cyrus 1 and then come back. Ooh, Viper Dagger. Okay, I'm going to come back in and check all of these NPCs and see what they have, because now we have all of them here. I kind of want that Shadow Soulstone, but I need money. Additionally, I want to come back here and buy the full set of herbs. So herbs are one-use items that can clear status effects. There are 6 different types of herbs, and I need to go to 2 different cities to get the full gambit of them. Since I don't know what bosses I'm going to be going up against, I want to have all of the various herbs that I can get just to clear all the status effects that might come from them. Yeah, just continuing to check. I would like another high E attack weapon. Oh, okay. We got Rune Glaive. Yeah. I think I'm gonna bounce after that. I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna take off. Rune Glaive is a really high E attack spear, so Tressa is going to be able to use that. Again, I'm gonna buy the rest of these herbs. Yeah, and I'm gonna loot Saint's Bridge here. So Saint's Bridge is really important. It has Alphen's Chapter 3, so I need to be here anyway. In addition, it has a couple of really good summons. So the Worry Wart right there, he's really good. He gives me access to... Oh, okay, cool. I just found a knowledge stash. Alright, I'm good. I'm good on E-attack weapons. But yeah, so summons in this game can give me like access to the buffs that I'm missing. So right now, I am pretty much... Yeah, I'm going into a magic setup. I have Rune Glaive for Tressa. I have a knowledge staff for probably Cyrus. And that is going to carry my damage. Those are two late game weapons that are really high on E attack, and I'm going to be using those. So now I'm looking for supports. So I need, so in this game you basically have buffs on yourself and you have debuffs on bosses. So I can buff myself with a percentage boost to my E attack, as well as I can debuff a boss for a percentage reduction to their E defense. Each of these are 1.5 times multipliers. They're both equally good, and usually you get access to them on characters. So like in the traditional game, the sorcerer gets access to Elemental Break, which lowers the boss's E defense, and the dancer class gets access to Peacock Strut, which buffs your E attack. But right now I don't have access to either of those. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to get them from a summon. Yeah, and summons. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna get them from a summon. Primrose and Ophelia both get access to summons. Primrose gets access to them easier because her ability Allure is not level dependent. I can go in and I can try the Allure as many times as I want, and then if I don't get the Allure, I can reset. Whereas Ophelia, I would have to grind out levels. So Primrose, I'm going to go ahead and pick her up. She also has the fastest Chapter 1 out of any character, so she's just really, really nice to have. In addition, Dancer, I can do Dancer Scholar and get access to Sidestep and Transfer Rune and have it on 2 characters. But I'm pretty much in go mode here. Yeah, I think I can stop checking chests. These chests are really easy to access though, so I don't know. I might still be checking some stuff. Yeah, so in general, Transfer and Sidestep is basically going to cover my defenses, unless there's a few like specific bosses that I get. So like for example, Mystery Man Shady Figure is Ophelia's normal Chapter 3 boss. If I get that boss, I need a bigger HP pool because they do party-wide AoEs that hit quite hard, and I need to be able to live through a couple of hits. So I'm still going to go ahead and buy some Empowering Bracelets. Empowering Bracelets increase your character's HP by 500, and each character can equip 2. So you can buff your HP by 1,000. If you take a look at my HP levels right now, you see Tressa and Alphen are actually pretty high on HP because we got that Kate that buffed them up 10 levels. But the other two, hitting 1,000 HP right now would 5x their HP. So it's pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and pick those up. But we'll go ahead and I'm gonna save some soul stones here. I'll do one large, and we'll kill these guys off with the runes. You'll start to see the efficiency of runes here. So Cyrus right there hit for 2k with nothing but a knowledge staff. It's pretty good. Now, once I start getting some more multipliers in, like if the enemy is broken, it's going to deal even more damage. Tressa there hit for 3,000 just because she hit the enemy's weakness. Yeah, so our damage setup is looking pretty good. Now runes also have the pitfall that they hit damage cap really, really quickly. In this game, before you get Surpassing Power, your damage cap is 9999. So you can basically only deal 10,000 damage at a time. Late game bosses can have upwards of 90,000 HP, so being able to break damage cap is really nice, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So I think I'm just going to be relying on hitting at or near damage cap and just hitting multiple times. Now, I do want to do a little bit more exploration. So I picked up Primrose, which gives me access to her Allure ability, which gives me summons. But I can only do one of E attack. I can only do one of E attack or the E defense down. So I really want access to the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and check Hunter and check Cleric. I'm not going to pick up any chests along the way. I just want to see what's on those jobs. So we get to go north here. The Hunter Shrine and the Cleric Shrine are really, really close together. It's pretty similar to the Warrior and the Merchant Shrine. So it's pretty efficient to check both of them really quickly. So we're going to go up here and check out Hunter. Let's see what we got. So right now I'm crossing my fingers to see either Peacock Strut or Elemental Break. Elemental Break is the preferable one because then I can go get a summon that boosts my offenses, and boosting the offenses of 4 characters is much easier than trying to buff 4 characters because the buffs are all single target, and ones that I target I can't transfer in. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so Patience. Patience is a really interesting ability. Let's see what we got on Hunter. Nothing good. Cool. Okay, yeah. So Patience, it gives my characters a random chance of taking an extra turn. So with runes, that's really good because it doesn't decrease the duration on my rune, and I get to just attack again. Yeah, so Patience is really good. I'm going to put that on my 2 damage dealers just to give them some extra chance at attacking again. Another one that would be really cool to see is Second Serving, which is an ability that lets your characters attack again, which scales really well with runes. I put those 2 abilities in basically the same category, where I'm looking at Patience and Second Serving as like the same thing because they just give you the ability to attack again. But let's see what we have on Cleric. And with this is me checking all of the jobs. Now, normally I would want to skip some jobs, but I do need a little bit more oomph to get through bosses. Cleric. Fortitude Surpassing Power. Okay, that's pretty useless. Oh, there we go. I got Peacock. Okay. So I have access to the buff ability, which means I think I'm gonna go get HP, and then I'm going to go do chapter 2. In general, chapter 2s, they're not that difficult, so I don't need access to the buff right away. So I'm going to go to chapter 2, do that, and then I'm going to go pick up my summon. Yeah, so I have access to the E attack buff now, and now I just want access to the E attack or the E defense debuff for the boss. So yeah, we're just kind of upping the HP on all my characters. You see those those empowering bracelets doing work, basically 5xing my 2 low characters' HPs. And since I was already here earlier, I did all of Alphen 2. All I have to do is inquire this guy, and we are good to move on to the boss, to whatever it might be. I do think, yeah, I'm going to take 2 encounters here. So in randomizers, I do usually like to take the chapter 2 encounters at bare minimum, just because it gives you a little bit more XP. It'll give me access to Patience, so I can put that on my damage dealers. It'll let me learn the skills that I need to be able to beat bosses. This encounter is kind of unfortunate. Most of the encounters in this area do die to a large soulstone. This front line is pretty chunky, so I'm gonna have to chuck it. Not a big deal though. Yeah, you see that that's 200 JP. That gives me access to the first row of passives on any job that I want. I will go ahead and take a second encounter here though, because I need to get transfer and sidestep on both Cyrus and Primrose. Just to set them up so I have the ability to do my defensive setup. I don't think I will need it on this boss unless it's a very hard physical attacker. we'll take this encounter and just check a soul stone. This one dies to a single large soul stone. And then we'll set up my characters. So for anybody not familiar with Octopath Traveler, these are this job wheel right here. I can only have one character equip the job at a time. So I can technically have 2 scholars, one of them being base scholar, one of them being job scholar. So I'm going to be moving around and equipping various things on people just to get the passives. So in order to get the passive, I have to equip that character as Hunter, learn 2 abilities, and then move them back to what they were. And then I can go ahead and equip that passive. But I'm getting Transfer Rune and Sidestep on Primrose and Cyrus here. And then Alphen is going to get Peacock Strut, so he's going to be my buff character. And then Primrose will be my debuff character once I get the summon that I need. Yeah, we got Patience on Cyrus and Tressa, so they can potentially act twice. Again, it is random if I get that proc or not. Alright, let's see what we got. So I can only see chapter 2 bosses here. Well, we got Gustav. Gustav, okay. So Gustav is Ulbrich's chapter 2 boss. He's not that dangerous on his own, but his ads right here, they can do an ability called, I think it's called Extreme Speed, that can stun my dudes. So I want to take those out as early as possible. They are weak to Frost, and I have Ice Rune, so yeah, it should be pretty quick to take them out. I will go ahead and chuck 2 soul stones here because I have them, and most of the chapter 3 bosses don't actually have ads. Chapter 2 bosses though, I think the majority of them do. I want to use my resources here and kind of speed up this ad phase of the fight. Once these ads are dead, I can go ahead and deal with Gustav. He doesn't resummon them. Yeah, so I'm just using Transfer Rune right here. It's a little bit more efficient to do it with one character. So like Primrose doesn't actually need the Ice Rune. She's never going to be attacking. But by using Transfer Rune and Sidestep on her, I save turns on Tressa and Cyrus. You're going to see the power of runes here. Tressa with the Rune Glaive on, she does quite a bit of damage, especially hitting the weakness of ice on these enemies. Oh, the Patience proc. That Patience proc just allows me to finish off that ad, and we're on to Gustav. So one of the things that's pretty intimidating about this randomizer is learning all the bosses. Again, they all have their unique set of weaknesses, and I don't personally have them all memorized. I use a cheat sheet and just to look up and see what they're weak to, and make sure that I have coverage for that, because it's a pretty deep knowledge gap of the game. In addition, you also have to know their HPs to see how much damage you need to deal. And yeah, it gets pretty rough. You have to know what their patterns are, know what's dangerous about them. But yeah, once Gustav's ads are dealt with, he's not terribly dangerous, so I'll just go ahead and break him. He should die in one break. He only has like 40,000 HP, and once he's broken, my 2 damage dealers is going to be doing very, very respectable. So you see here, one of the problems that you often run into in Randomizer is you don't have enough SP. The character's base SPs are very, very low, and since I'm using Rune Lord jobs, you're not intended to get Rune Lord until way later in the game. You're at a much higher level, you have much more SP, so the SP costs are kind of high. Runes though, in general, their SP costs are very reasonable compared to like if you're looking at War Master skills or Sorcerer skills. Those are very, very high in SP costs. Yeah, we're going to be able to take out Gustav here very, very quickly. So in general, when you're playing Octopath, you want to break at the beginning of a turn. So often you'll see me defend and then break on that next turn, just so I have 2 full turns of the enemy being broken and having weakness. So right now I'm just kind of watching my Transfer Rune and my Ice Rune timers, making sure that I don't run out of turns with those. Yeah, but with these 2 Patience blocks, he should die right here. Maybe he's almost dead. I'm gonna go ahead and keep my HPs high though, just in case. Yeah. I think one more round and be dead. That's another thing with Octopath randos. You have to kind of count your damage. When you're playing through this game casually, you can use an ability called Analyze to see how much HP these enemies have. Yeah, there we go. He's dead. But right now, I'm trying to keep a mental tally of how much damage I've done, so I know roughly when the enemy is going to die. Yeah, that's chapter 2. I think that I'm okay to just go straight into chapter 3. I don't think I need to do any more exploration. I need to go get my summon, and that's about it. But we'll go ahead and start Alphen 3 here. Similarly to Alphen 2, Alphen 3 has you go all the way across Saints Bridge, all the way back and forth, and it is faster to do one part of it, teleport out, come back, do the second part, teleport out, come back, do the third part. So we're just going to go ahead and start Alphen 3 here, and then I'll teleport out and teleport back in. We'll go out to Quarry Crest here. It really doesn't matter where I teleport to. I'm just going to be getting out of Saints Bridge and teleporting back. This puts me back on the first screen, and like you can see here, the Inquire that I need to do is like right away on this first screen, and it just saves me a lot of movement running back and forth, that teleporting out and coming back. Yeah, so I'm going to do this next part of Alphen 3, and then I'm going to go get my summon. Alright, so this particular summon is probably the best summon in the game. I'd be shocked to find a better summon than this one. So this guy that I'm gonna allure gives me access to full enfeeblement. So full enfeeblement is an ability that it's fourfold. So it's going to lower the enemy's defenses, both physical and elemental, and it's going to lower their physical and elemental damage. So it's a fourfold ability, and it takes the place of basically 4 abilities. So it's really, really good. It also hits all targets. Now, summons in this game they're fairly unreliable. So this particular summon has 3 different abilities that he can use, and as far as we know, all of them are weighted the exact same. So it's just kind of a coin flip whether he full enfeebles or not. His other abilities are actually pretty okay though. Like one is a spear attack that hits reasonably hard. It's not crazy. Like I'm not going to use it as a damage carry, but it's okay. I am going to go ahead and get physical prowess on everybody. So physical prowess is a War Master skill, and it's really good. It gives my characters basically the effect of Lion Dance, which is an ability that increases your physical attack, as well as it gives me the defensive buff of what is basically hired help mercy. So I know that I'm running into a blind chapter 3 boss, and a majority of them are physical damage. Notably, Mystery Man, Shady Figure, and Yvonne are elemental damage based, but the rest of them having physical prowess is going to be good. And it's very cheap to get. I only need 130 JP to get it on all my characters, and I didn't really see anything else that was good, so I'm gonna encounter. Okay. Yeah, I didn't really see anything else that's good, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it on everybody. Get a little bit extra defense there. Oh, okay, yeah. So you see the pitfalls of being really low leveled in these areas. Normally evasive maneuvers, like, it can get me to the boss, but this encounter is one that you do get it every now and then. And it is painful when you do. Like, it takes forever to escape this. And it might even kill me. Oh yeah, he sleeps. Cool. Okay. Alright, we're out of there. Go ahead and heal everybody up, and then we will be good to go. I am very, very low on olives. I hope people don't die here. We should be okay. Should be fine. Okay, Lizard Minchi. This game is favoring Olbrick bosses. Yeah. So we're gonna hope for Full and Feeble. We don't get it. That's fine. But you see Peerless Strike, and it's a powerful spear attack. Nothing to write home about, but it's okay. So Lizardman Chief does summon ads, and those ads protect him. But I have Ice Soul Stones. I don't have any large Soul Stones, but these M's are going to do just fine. They are weak to ice, so if they'll die to 4 of these. Yeah. Ooh, okay, we got a Patience proc. Then right now, we're going to want to set up the Transfer Rune, Ice Rune, and Transfer Rune sidestep. Just giving the buffs to everybody is very, very handy. And Lizardman Chief actually doesn't hit that hard. Once the ads are dealt with, he's pretty down. Yeah, it's one of the better Chapter 3 bosses, in my opinion, to get. If I had Yvonne right here, it'd be really scary and not good, but we got lucked out. I'm also really low on palms. Okay. Yeah, after this encounter, I need to look around and do a little bit more exploration. But yeah, this boss is pretty cut and dry. He doesn't really do much, and with having Transfer and Sidestep up, you can't hit my guys. Pretty easy. Yeah, so I'm just kind of hoping for Full Enfeeblement here, which will lower his elemental defense, and it's going to make my runes hit much, much harder, and then eventually we will break him and deal a lot of damage. I'm in no rush though, like, he can't do anything in my party right now. Yeah, that's the power of Sidestep, able to avoid most of the abilities. Okay, bad luck. Bad luck on my Necklace Cell Sword there. That's okay. We'll go ahead and set up a break next turn, and I will power through without it. Yeah, we'll keep using Alpha to buff here. So Peacock Strut is the elemental attack buff, and it 1.5 times is my damage. Similarly to E-Break, which 1.5 times is my damage, but it's because the boss is debuff. Yeah, so damage is getting really, really respectable here. Change Tress as well. Yeah, so one thing about runes is you have to use the weapon that has the high E attack, based off whatever weapon you're attacking. So I used Tress of the Break with Sword, but I forgot to... I did it again, okay. Yeah, I keep forgetting to switch to Spear. Yeah, her Spear is really good, her Sword is not. We might need another round. Oh, okay, we got Full and Feeble. Damage should be much better. There we go. That's basically damage cap. And that's Lizardman Chief. That boss does nothing. Really, really handy. Alright, so I am now looking for pomegranates. Yeah, really all I need. Yeah, we're gonna go to Orwell. We'll start Alpin's Chapter 4 and look around and see what these NPCs have for me. Hopefully we can get just a couple of pomegranates. I would like to see some healing grape bunches. Yeah, I don't think I really need anything. So just kind of racking my brain for the chapter 4 boss possibilities. So we have Matthias. Matthias really, I'd be fine against him. He could double tap one character and that's about it. I do need to kill him before the third break, before the third break, because he does summon ads. Darius would be pretty terrifying. He would probably one-shot my party with his first sweep. If I do, I think, yeah, okay. So my current plan is I'm going to go check what the chapter 4 boss is. If it's something really bad, I will just die and then run out and go get more gear. If it's something doable, just go and do it there. Like Lucia, if I get Lucia, that'd be, if I could live a sweep, I could beat Lucia. I don't know that I would live a sweep. It'd be very close. I think Tressa and Cyrus would, but or Tressa and Alphen would live the sweep. Cyrus and Primrose would probably die, which is bad because they're my 2 transfer rune characters. Werner, I think I could do Werner right now. His sweep isn't that strong. Red Eye would be a little bit terrifying. Yeah, Red Eye is really complicated because he switches weaknesses every turn, and I don't really have very good coverage of weaknesses, like for damage types that I can deal. Esmeralda would be okay. She kinda, yeah, five-sided strike is pretty terrifying, but I'm pretty sure I could live it with transfer and sidestep. Ogre Eagle is probably one of the easier ones that I could see. I have Alphen, so I have access to the Curious Mist Concoct, which clears all status effects and gives me a buff that makes it so status effects don't land on me for the next turn, which really kind of cheeses Ogre Eagle's big mechanic of his ability to throw a bunch of status effects at you. Simeon 1 would be pretty bad. His ads have really high HP, and I don't really have very good area of effect damage. So I'm hoping not to see Simeon 1. Simeon 2 would be easy-ish. He does a lot of silence, and he hits very, very hard, but only on 1 or 2 targets. I'd be okay with seeing Simeon 2. Yeah, and yeah, so I think if I get Lucia or Darius, I'm gonna have to go get more gear. Other than those 2, I should be okay. Oh, I forgot to buy more olives. That's okay. This encounter is probably going to kill me. Yeah, so just other interesting things about the randomizer. So if we get Primrose as the starting character, she actually has 2 chapter 4 bosses. So you need to gear up a little bit better, because after you finish the first one, you were immediately thrown into the second one. And ready or not, like you're gonna have to do it. So yeah, if we do wind up doing the bid war, then Primrose would need a little bit of extra time. Same with Ulbrich. Ulbrich has a lot of forced encounters in his chapters. He has a couple of challenges that are really, really difficult to do in the randomizer setting. Okay, so I'm gonna go buy some more olives. So Ulbrich would probably need a little bit more time as well. Alphen is one of the kinder ones. The base class Apothecary is always really good. Being able to concoct is super, super nice. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could have used concoct for Ebrick and then did the buff for Peacock, but I think full enfeeblement's better. We're just buying some olives here. We're gonna make sure that I can get through this next encounter. Yeah, this first screen of Alphen 4 is really, really trolly. The save points are all the way on the ends. Like, I'm gonna save here just to be a little bit of a wuss. But when you're running Alphen single story, you can save there and then save reload, and that little bit that you walked into the zone is usually enough that you don't get an encounter. But you can also just not get an encounter. I'm not that good. I'm not that good at the game. Hopefully we're able to flee from this. heal back up, and now we're free. We're home free. We can get all the way to the boss. Please no Lucia. Please no Darius. Yeah, Alphen's Chapter 4 zone is actually pretty lenient outside of that first screen. You're able to get through it very safely with evasive maneuvers. Simeon 1. I might... I can do it. I might just restart it though and pick up... No, we'll be okay. Okay. Yeah, so Simeon 1 is a little bit weird because he locks a lot of his weaknesses. So his first break, he's only weak to dagger. Sorry, Simeon 2. But yeah, he's only weak to dagger right now. I don't have very good coverage of dagger. Primrose and Cyrus both have it, and then his second break is going to be very scary because he's weak to fire and sword, and I only have one character that can use a sword, right? And that character is one of my damage dealers, so it takes out a damage dealer, and I use the damage dealer to break. Yeah, so Simeon 1 is, or Simeon 2 is really, he's not terribly dangerous. So you see he hits individual characters very hard, and then he'll silence them. When he comes out of break, he is going to silence my entire party. So part of the reason that I buy all of those herbs like throughout the beginning of the run is for situations like this, so I can actually clear my silencer. If you go long enough in this fight, he's also going to do an ability called, I think it's called like Hidden Future or something, where it makes it so you don't see the turnover. And that can be a real pain, because it makes it a lot harder to set up what you want to do when you don't know when your characters are going to go. Yeah, we're pretty solid here though. I think that this is a very doable fight right now. Yeah, just setting up my transfer and my sidestep. Transfer and sidestep on this fight is actually not that good. A lot of the things that he does aren't physical, and sidestep only sidesteps physical abilities. I don't think I'm going to rely on that too much, as opposed to just my like raw HP pools. This break pretty smooth. And then hopefully getting some more damage on him with Cyrus and Tressa here. Really would like full enfeeblement right now. So one thing about full enfeeblement is every time he uses it, it's additive. So it's 3 turns, and it's going to keep adding to that counter. Right now he is full enfeebled for 5 turns, now 4. So getting it multiple times is really, really handy. So he just has the debuff on him permanently. Yeah, this break is an issue. I probably should have equipped Thief on somebody. Yeah, so all the jobs have weapons that are unique to them. So for example, Dancer can only use the dagger ability, but since she has Scholar on her as well, she could use the staff. Yeah, and I have really poor coverage on my ability to break him. Should be okay. He doesn't do tons and tons of damage, and I can mostly kill him without breaking. Yeah, I really don't want to take this to a 3rd break. I think I'm just gonna Yeah, I'm gonna just sneak in damage here every chance I get. I really... Okay. I wish I would have bought more healing Great Bunches. But I think the Great M's are going to be sufficient to be able to keep my HP kind of high. And with full enfeeblement, he doesn't one-shot characters. Yeah, it's going to be a slow fight, but I don't think I'm going to die. Okay, just clearing off Alphen here. The nice thing about runes is silence doesn't really affect them. You can still use your rune abilities once they're attached to the character, but I do need to clear Alphen's silence because he's my source of Peacock Strut, and I need that buff to make my damage go higher. Okay, good. So we have enough turns of full enfeeblement. I really don't want him to do his AoE ability, but he's going to, and he's going to do it after Boiling Blood. This is going to hit really, really hard here. I want to break soon. I'm gonna try to set up Tressa to break. He's my only one that has access to sword. I might have fire somewhere on like one of the characters, but I don't recall learning any fire ability. Ooh, okay. It's really hard. Rip Tressa. It'd still be okay. The break is just going to be delayed a little bit. Like I said, I have enough healing items that I don't think he's going to kill me. Yeah, right now it's just it's a stall game. I'm trying to set up a clean break, and then I'm going to be able to kill him on that break, I'm pretty sure. He should only have about 50,000 more HP. Oh, cool, patience block. Alright, we should be okay to break. One more turn. We're good, okay. So set up the break here. It's a little bit weird breaking with Tressa, because she is also one of my damage dealers. But I'll just chuck all my soul stones, and it should be okay. I'll be able to kill them this break. Iris already has Peacock, so I put it on Tressa. I'm just gonna throw everything in the kitchen sink at him. He should be within 10k. Oh, okay, patience block. That should do it right there. Oh, one more hit. I think we're okay. This third break is not as scary. He's going to do Master of Silence again, which doesn't actually do any damage. He won't do any damaging abilities until the next turn. Alright, okay, cool. Awesome, and that is it. That is the end of Alphen's story, as we kill Simeon too. But yeah, that is Octopath Traveler Randomizer. I'm going to be submitting some pretty wacky ideas for donation incentives. There's a lot of room for that in this game. But yeah, thank you for watching this submission. This is going to be the end of this recording. The timer ends once Alphen's cutscenes finish playing out, and I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you consider Octopath Traveler Randomizer.